I'm going to be trying something I have never done before, and that is using Rice Krispie treats to make a Titan arm. All I know is that I want this hand to look as real as possible. So we're gonna try to attempt that. I'm gonna jab this thing in here. Now we have our base. It's already halfway to a hand. Might have to tape these down. Do I own tape?
Now you see this? This is what we're going to try to sculpt.
I don't even know if you consider this sculpting. It's more food forming.
Just put the marshmallows in the microwave, please.
Now remember, marshmallows are just made out of sugar and gelatin. Now look at these plump boys right now.
Give those hot marshmallows a stir before we get the secret ingredient.
And then of course, crispy rice.
If I were being smart, I would measure out an equal portion worth of crispy rice and melted marshmallow, but we're just gonna wing it here.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of everything that's good in the world. Definitely need more crispy rice in here.
Maybe if you measured it out, we wouldn't have this problem.
I might have to go in with my hands. Oh, it's starting to stiffen up. That's probably not a good thing. Let's just go in. Let's just go all in.
Personally, I don't like where this is going.
It's like the stickiest substance on the planet.
I will give him credit though. Look at this move right here. This is pretty slick.
Come on. There, okay. There, a little more. Yep, okay. Should've got a bigger boat. Should've got a bigger boat.
You really should have gotten a bigger boat because now what's happening is that marshmallow is cooling down faster than you can coat it with crispy rice, so we're gonna be running into a bit of a disaster.
I may have to like throw it back in the microwave for like 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds.
Don't be like Paul. Don't take so long to mix this. Use a bigger boat.
Please, come out. Oh, I forgot to lube up the spatula. That's unfortunate.
Never forget to lube the spatula.
I also think by how stringy this looks, we're gonna need more crispy rice in here for sure.
This is why you measure out things ahead of time, so this doesn't happen.
Oh, come on! Oh my God, this is just ridiculous.
Whatever, man, just clean up your mess and get the rest of that crispy rice into that marshmallow.
There we go. Okay, this feels better. I can actually like mold it a little bit. We needed quite a bit of crispy rice, not gonna lie.
Yeah, of course you did, because you didn't measure it out. Remember, crispy rice is a lot lighter than it actually looks, so make sure you measure it next time.
The goal, from what I've researched in all of my many hours on YouTube, is you wanna be able to pick this thing up. And we have done that.
Please stop. Please stop. Please don't drop this.
So excited now. Now back to this.
Before we talk about that, look at Lucian in the background. Now we also need to melt some more marshmallow to stick this to the rod.
Once those marshmallows are ready, it's gonna go on here. We're gonna start forming this arm, Don't You Explode, which is gonna be very difficult. Sorry, it's gonna explode. See that? Got him.
I honestly don't know how he survives in this kitchen, but once that marshmallow is melted, we do have to put some of it onto this dowel, so this way the Rice Krispie treats have something to stick to. If you don't, it may just slide off, and that's just gonna... We're just trying to create some art here.
Because I am a horrible artist.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, look at this guy. What is he doing with his sleeves right now?
A little shot of coffee.
Yeah, bro, you really need it. Because how do you decide to model it this way? What is this?
Got a little beefy arm.
Don't worry, we're professionals here. Sometimes, not really, ever.
It honestly almost feels like modeling clay.
And modeling clay honestly just kind of feels like Play-Doh. And I found that the best way to get this on here is just kind of press it and wrap it around that dowel that was covered in that marshmallow. This really held it on very well.
This arm is looking real thick. That's like a Popeye arm. Let's take off some of this beefcake over here.
Just don't measure like this.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that looks good. Here we go. It's kind of a log-like shape. Look at my tower. It's amazing. Now we're gonna make the palm somehow.
Now this is the ultimate technique for measuring the palm. It's really not. After I've measured out my Rice Krispie treats, I placed it onto the cutting board to kind of put it into that palm-like shape. This was a lot of effort. I don't know what I was doing here.
That looks very questionable. How is this supposed to stick? Marshmallow, maybe?
Who hired this guy? Of course you're supposed to use marshmallow to make it stick.
Please work with me. There we go. Little marshmallow glue. Really hope you don't fall over later.
Now, of course, use the ultimate palm measuring technique to start getting a gauge as to where we're going to place the Rice Krispie treats for your fingers.
I think we should also cover up some of that marshmallow we left. Give this like some dimension and body. I have no idea what I'm talking about at all.
Hey, but at least you have the start of your hand and you have this base ready to go. Now use the striking palm technique to once again measure out the hand. Start forming on all of your fingers.
Now this whole thing is gonna get covered in fondant, but you still want it to be as close as possible.
Now, once again, we are going to lean into Le Palme technique to get the perfect measurement for our Rice Krispie arm. This is the weirdest thing I've ever had to say in a video. Also, please ignore the flapping lips. This is just a really bad dub. But now it's time to start marking out where we're going to place our fingers.
We're gonna do the middle finger right there, ring finger like this, pinky finger at the end over here, and then we'll do one for the thumb right about there.
Bro, this thing is cursed. This is some Hellraiser stuff.
Like slowly watching the hand droop. We're gonna have to reinforce that with something. You know what would have been the smart idea?
Oh, do tell.
Is to form the hand separate from the arm arm and then attach them later.
Now I had to make a second batch of Rice Krispie treats to start forming all of the fingers, and we're going to take a playbook and realize that we should make the fingers separately and then attach them to each piece of those toothpicks.
That's a very long thumb. Actually, it's not that long, is it? Okay, look at that. It's a thumb. Smash like.
After caressing the like button, we have to make the rest of our fingers. I rolled each one of my fingers out individually and then kind of shaped them into what I think is maybe a finger. And after an undisclosed amount of time, I created all of my fingers for this human/Titan arm thing stuff.
We have fingers and a thumb, and I want to try to attach them, kind of to, you know, give it that look. The problem that I'm having is they don't stick.
We've already discussed this. Melt more marshmallows and use that as the glue, man. Come on now. Just make sure you pay attention to them in the microwave.
Very close. Now we're gonna take some of this marshmallow, we're gonna use it as glue by actually attaching it. Yeah, we'll do it on this.
Once you've finally connected your brain to your body, place that finger onto that hand.
Yes, yes, that's gonna be so cool. Is it going to look like a hand by the end of it? That's the real question. Please stay.
Now we just gotta get all those other fingers on there. Easy peasy.
This finger, I don't like where that's at. You need to go like right over here. Okay, is everybody happy?
Everyone's happy except for that pinky finger.
Look at this hand! Come on! Look at this!
Good job, buddy.
That's so cool! I had serious doubts until the fingers got there.
No celebrating yet. These fingers are a little droopy, so we do have to stabilize them with a bunch of toothpicks and make sure they don't fall over.
This little guy though, he's having some real issues over here.
Hey, that looks pretty good. That looks like it might kind of almost hold.
You see this pinky right here though? He's going way out. What's happening?
Get your life together and stick another toothpick into that pinky to stabilize it, and we're good to go.
Yeah. Nice.
The only thing left to do is to add a little more marshmallow to help stabilize everything.
This is exciting. I love this.
Do you really love this?
I had to wrap this thing to keep it from fully drying, and as you can see, there's some weird bits of chocolate on here because at like 11 p.m. last night, some of the fingers got a little sad and droopy.
But the show must go on, and for that to go on, we do have to trim off some of these sticks that are poking out of those fingers because we don't want those to jam into our mouth when we go to eat this thing.
It's a little sloppy. That's okay. This is our first time doing this. Now that we have the structure more or less done, this is when we start rolling out the fondant, which I've never done before. That'll be fun.
Fondant is kind of weird. It's kind of like sugary Play-Doh, but we do have to warm it up a bit with our hands and work it just so this way we can actually roll it out.
I think I'm gonna try to work with like half of this first because it's just so much fondant.
I had to roll this out really thin as well, so this way it could sit onto that arm without it really falling over.
Let's try this. Do we even have the right length? Let's see if this is long enough. Oh, baby, look at that length. Does it stick? Oh my God, it sticks. Oh, yes. Oh, so happy. It's gonna be a little bumpy. Maybe we'll do 2 layers of fondant. I don't know. I don't even know at this point. I'm just happy that this is kind of working right now. You guys don't understand. I've worked so many hours on this yesterday. Oh, yes. Yes! Oh, oh my God, this is so good. I am going to treat myself today. We're getting a bagel and we're having coffee.
No bagel and no coffee until you get this arm covered in fondant.
You know, every cake decorator right now who's maybe watching this is screaming in agony and pain.
I'm internally screaming in agony and pain at how slowly you're doing this and how much voiceover I have to provide. Please just get this fondant onto this arm.
So here's what I want you to do. I know you're watching on your phone because most of you do. I want you to step back like 3 feet and just look at this and be like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like an arm.
I'll admit, it does kind of start to look like an arm. I rolled out some more fondant to make sure I could cover the palm and covering the back of that hand. I started off with the back of the hand and then slowly started to cover it up, cutting it where I needed to drape it over the areas of the fingers.
I guess I could have done the whole finger too. Oh, we just do one of those. Ah, Paul, you're an idiot.
Don't beat yourself up, man. This is the first time doing this. I'm pretty proud of you here.
I have a really hard time trying to lay this on here while showing you guys, so I'm gonna do my best.
That's all we can really ask for. Just do your best here. What I found to work the best is if I took some of that fondant and I really pressed it into the fondant that was already on the arm, and this kind of held it together. Fondant can kind of melt together from the heat of your hands, so if you're able to kind of rub the fondant together, it will start to stick and you'll be able to get this thing covered.
As far as the fingers go, I'm actually like trying to stretch this fondant a bit because we don't need that much fondant on the fingers, do we?
We really don't want that much fondant on any part of this because it's so sweet and it can be overwhelming. Goal really with this fondant is just to make make sure that those fingers are totally covered up.
So I finally have my giant hand covered in fondant, and if I do one of these, you can tell that it's a hand, but you can't see it up close, and that's okay. Has anyone ever, you find those boss mobs in video games that are just the hand that crawl at you very quick? That's what this reminds me of right now. Let's try to do a thin layer on the back side of this. I just want to see what it looks like.
Now I did roll out that small piece of fondant to try to cover up that initial layer, just so this way it wasn't as bumpy, but I mean, come on.
There we go. That's not nearly as bumpy. I think that's nice and smooth. That's as good as it's gonna get. We're happy with this. We are happy with this. We're officially on day 3, ladies and gentlemen. We have to finish painting this. I'm not an artist. Please forgive me. We have some work to do.
Now I did end up finding some ivory food color. This is typically used to paint cakes with, so I figured I could use it, but it is incredibly dark. This ivory food color is meant to mix in with frosting, so that way when you put it on a cake, it ends up being a little bit lighter. But since I don't have frosting to work with, I ended up buying this white kind of cake paste as well. Mixing these two gave me an ivory skin tone kind of color.
I want it to be similar in color, I guess, to my arm. So maybe a little more ivory. Oh yeah, baby. There we go. Look at that. Ivory. Bam. Boom. Now we gotta paint the whole arm in this.
Now this part is the most fun part. It's also the easiest part. I just threw on a layer of that ivory that I had created. You can make this darker or lighter or really however you want. I kind of tried to match to my arm and it still ended up being a little too light because I was painting over white fondant. I should have made it darker, but I was making sure that I added in just that lighter color of ivory first because I was going to start darkening it up later. I also carved in a few fingernails into each finger. Well, I guess one fingernail per finger, unless you have, that's so weird to say that you would have multiple fingernails per finger, but I digress. And after carving in those fingernails into the fingers, this is when I tried to use a black paint pen to try to give it a bit more body and color. The black paint pen didn't work that well. It kept rubbing off the fondant, and no matter what I did, it really just didn't give it that color that I was looking for. I scraped up the fingernails just a bit, then took a paper towel and started smudging everything together. This helped make the arm look kind of dirty, a little more organic. If you had it looking very, very clean, it wouldn't be a Titan arm that may or may not have been in battle. Using that paper towel with a bit of black luster dust really did help bring it to life just a bit more, and this is what I like to call battle damage. I spent some time at this step to really try to bring it to life, but I realized that I'm not the best artist on the planet, and I wish I had Drawing with Jazz's number to help me, but I was really proud of the overall result because this was fun.
So Rachel convinced me that this is the best way of showing off how to be a Titan. I also cut a chunk out of the arm, and just hopefully it looks good in the thumbnail. Let me know down below. We're gonna take a bite out of this, and I really don't want to. We're gonna do it for you guys. There's so much fondant. There's so much fondant. It's good though. I mean, there's a Rice Krispie treat. What else do you want? My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with the food. I use this as a back scratcher now. Look at this thing.